Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My name is Indigo, and welcome to All Things with Indigo. Today I would like to start off by talking about clinical depression and anxiety. Something I didn't really touch on. I would like to let people know, for those of you who don't know and aren't familiar with it, and may know someone that's dealing with it but don't quite understand what they're dealing with. I would like to read off what are the symptoms of anxiety and depression, things like that, because yeah, um, I I don't believe I touched on it in its entirety, or for the most part, in previous videos. So I would like to touch on it, um, and also touch on what I went through when I was when I was dealing with it. Some of the worst times. So first of all, clinical depression, also known as major depressive disorder, is a common mental health condition characterized by persistent and pervasive symptoms that significantly interfere with daily life. Common symptoms of clinical depression persist persistent low mood, feeling sad, empty, or hopeless for most of the day for at least 2 weeks, loss of interest or pleasure, reduced enjoyment in activities that used to be pleasurable, changes in appetite or weight, significant weight gain or loss without obvious reason, sleep disturbances, insomnia, excessive sleeping, or early morning awakenings, fatigue, feeling tired or lack of energy most of the time, difficulty concentrating or making decisions, problems with attention, memory, and decision making, restlessness or agitation, feeling anxious, irritable, or hyperactive, thoughts of self harm or suicide, suicidal thoughts or ideation, or attempts to harm oneself, feelings of guilt or worthlessness, excessive guilt or self blame, or a sense of being worthless, social withdrawal, reduced social interaction or isolation, physical symptoms, aches and pains, headaches, digestive problems, additional symptoms, changes in menstrual cycle, irregular periods, or heavier bleeding in women, erectile dysfunction in men, cognitive decline. In severe cases, memory loss or confusion. It's important to note that not everyone with clinical depression experiences all of these symptoms. The severity of presentation and the severity and presentation of symptoms can vary widely. If you or someone you know is experiencing any of these symptoms or for more than 2 weeks, it's essential to seek professional help from a healthcare provider or mental health professional. Early diagnosis and treatment can significantly improve outcomes. I wanted to really um, hone down on and highlight what are symptoms of this, because a lot of people, I actually came across, well, okay, on my Facebook, someone was dealing with, they didn't know what they were dealing with. They know they were going through all these symptoms and they couldn't understand why they were feeling these certain symptoms and feeling away. And I instantly knew, because of experience, that they were dealing with depression, and they sought help. And so they posted their year later. You know how Facebook shows you what you were doing a year ago. And she posted that she's glad she got help, and yeah, she's feeling much better. So it is important to get the help early on. It's very important to get the help earlier. If you don't understand what's going on with you, I implore you, I advise you to talk to someone. And you could talk to friends or family if you have loved ones and family members that you can talk to, but also seek professional help. It doesn't mean you're crazy, you're out of your mind, something's wrong with you eh, to an extreme. It just means that I say, you've overwhelmed your plate. You filled your plate to capacity, and you can't. You're full. You can't eat anymore. Also, I also refer to like blowing up a balloon. You blow up a balloon to the point where it's going to pop. That's how life is. I tell my kids all the time. They're grown now. I tell my kids all the time that life has to have a balance. Just like there's good, there's bad. Just like there's up, there's down. Just like there's hot, there's cold. If you get in some water that's too hot, you're gonna burn yourself. If you get in some water that's too cold, you're gonna catch hypothermia. But if you get in some warm water, it is just right. And the crazy thing is, even though okay, this may be a little off or on, but the three bears, right? Remember when Goldilocks were going there? This is kind of a metaphor for life, balancing life, because she went in there and she tasted the porridge. It was too hot, too cold, but then she found that some was just right, and then she found the bed, and so on and so forth. Hot, cold, just right, or hard, soft, just right. That's how life is. Like, and in no way, shape, or form. Let me reiterate this. Like I said before, I'm not a professional. Uh, I haven't went to school for any of this. I just have experience in these areas. And I remember not having anyone there for me. So it is very important to me to be able to share my experience and my life with my story with people who may feel like they have no voice, or they don't know what's going on with them, or they're going through something and they're scared to talk to someone. There is help out there. As I said before, you can call your local information number. I see mine's here in New York City is 311. I know in other places it's 411, 211, but you can seek help. You can call, and you don't have to go into an office. There's people who will text you to talk to you about what you're going through. If you're going through any type of mental crisis, illness, or anything, hardship, overwhelm, emotional, exhaustion, uh, clinic, depression, anxiety, ADHD, schizophrenia, paranoia, anything. Mental health is nothing to play with, and I would beg you guys, whoever is going through, to get help, especially if you're alone. You don't have to feel alone. You don't have to be alone. You can talk to someone, and they will give you support. I am so happy that I never gave up on myself, and although there was plenty of times I wanted to, but I seeked out the help off and on. Although it was off and on, because sometimes I felt like, oh, I got it, but no, even now, like my therapist tells me, like, because I've been through so much therapy over the years, he tells me I kind of have tools already, but I know that, and I feel like that too sometimes, but I don't want to, like, okay, I got this, and then, you know, I want to get everything I need to get, you know, and then be able to say, okay, once I walk away, I got this, support groups. There's support groups out there. I actually, for the first time, because for years, my therapist over and over was trying to get me to join support groups and things like that, and I didn't want to, because I just didn't want to be bothered. And I have actually a case manager, and she actually told me she feels like in the year and a half that we've been speaking with each other, that I've come a long way. And it made me happy to hear that. It made me happy, you know. Sometimes my mind would try to revert to the old ways, like, oh, what is this? I don't know. My mind goes through this. What is this? What is this adrenaline rush? What is this? A dopamine rush? It goes through like, what is this? What is this happiness You're experiencing, and it's a long period of time. And I get a little scared, but I fight it, and I just fight it. So, but I want to talk about one of my experiences, where when I was going through, and also I didn't get to talk about, because it was all that article was supposed to, I thought I downloaded the one with the anxiety as well. Anxiety slash panic attacks. It's the same thing pretty much. And I know that is speeding heart rate. Your heart starts you feel like you're out of breath. Your mind is telling you it's like fight or flight, and you're sweating profusely and everything like that. You don't know what's going on. It can traumas, I know, 9 times out of 10 trigger panic attacks and anxiety. And you feel like like you have no control over what is going on. You don't understand what's going on, especially if you've never been through it before. um it can be very scary. It was very scary for me. I knew no one. I've never heard of it before. Um, I knew no one. I was scared to even say anything to anybody. I remember telling my husband at the time, because my lips got numb because I was hyperventilating, and I was dizzy, and I was sweating, and I was like going through all this, and I just told him, take care of my kids, please. He got scared for a minute because he was like, what, that was one of his human moments. But he got scared because he didn't know what was going on with me. And then, like I said, um 2 o'clock in the morning, I believe it was 2 o'clock in the morning, I ran across this lady named Lucinda Bassett, and she talked about losing her mom, and it was trauma for her and things like that. And that's when she started having panic attacks. But she was able to learn techniques to subside it, and then things like that, and deal with them, and things like that. And that's what I had to do too. She played a pivotal, or moment in my life. Even though I just ordered the first tape, but it still taught me something I knew inside of me, you know. And yeah, I remember when I had to take public transportation, the subway. And after like the initial time when I was in the car and it happened and I didn't know what was going on, and I just looked around the car to make sure did anybody see what the heck I just went through and everything. And then, okay, nobody saw me because, like I said, nobody really paid attention to me. I was in the car with my husband and his mother and his father and my kids. Okay, big Buick, whatever. But I remember being on a train, and it was overcrowded, and I began to feel nervous going into the tunnel and things like that. And I remember shaking my leg and everything. I was sitting at this time, but then I got up because I'm like, okay, I'm going through this, breathing, and I'm starting to sweat, and I'm starting my nerves, and I'm starting to get weak, and I'm starting to get scared because why am I going through this on a train? I've never been through this before, like on a train, like that the first time. Okay, yeah, I was in the car, things like that, and then but why am I going through this? And I remember looking over. I don't know. I've always been able to tell when someone was staring at me, so I remember looking over, and a lady, she was looking at me. She was like she probably was like, what is going on with this young lady? And I was so frustrated and agitated that she was looking at me. I said, well, you know and like, because I just wanted her to stop looking at me because it felt like it put me under a microscope for everybody to look at me, you know, and it made it worse. It just felt like it was making my symptoms worse. And I don't think she stopped looking at me, but um I think I turned and I just tried to close my eyes. I was looking out the subway train window, and I was just like, and I don't know. I remember singing Alicia Keys' "I Am Superwoman." I kid you not. Um, and it kind of calmed me down. But what calmed me down more was that there was a certain stop where everybody had to connect to other trains, and they got off and it cleared. And kid you not, it's like somebody took their foot off my chest. I don't know, but I was diagnosed with agoraphobia. And agoraphobia is where you have problems going into being in crowds and things like that. You have like it's like a social anxiety. You have a problem being in crowds of people being on you there. And I always believe that it's energy because energy travels, different people energy. I swear, I believe that, but you know, I believe that, and I guess that's a part of like, yeah, when you're in crowds, people's energy is on you, and things like that. But I know, yeah, it was scary. I really after that I barely took the train. I would rather pay $30 for a cab a couple of blocks than to get on a train and deal with that. Or I would make sure I get on the train. It was about 10, 11 a.m. That's way nobody, it is not overcrowded. And even I would try to make sure I sit in the seats in the corner where I didn't really have to share. That time I would put like my bag so nobody would, now, I know now they have rules, but anyway, so I wanted to just share a little bit of that with you guys. And yeah, so I wanted to let you guys know about the symptoms and things like that. um I want to also share the daily affirmations. This is something I'm going to do every day for myself, and also I would like to share with you guys. So I choose to focus on what I can control and let go of what I cannot. That is the first daily affirmation I would like to share. And the second one is, I am worthy of love, peace, and happiness. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Until next time, peace and blessings, joy.